from the creators of Dolph-Romantik and Kurzgesagt comes a new game in space. Meet the Starbirds. Help them claim nearby asteroids. You'll need to build stuff. You'll need to gather stuff. You'll need to connect stuff to other stuff to produce even more stuff. To advance your technology and reach for the stars. Explore countless asteroids. They're packed with resources and come in all shapes and sizes. Stay curious. You never know what you may find. Starbirds, coming to a solar system near you. Wishlist now on Steam.
Zoe, I was beginning to think you'd never make it. Ah, you were looking for answers. For you, these centuries would have passed in an instant. I once served your father. I helped him lay the groundwork for everything you see here. I am Savi. Welcome, Zoe.
Before the Infernals invaded us on Earth and destroyed human civilization, they engaged in battle with their sworn enemies, the Celestial Armada. Angelic form merged with advanced technology. The Celestials fight unlike anything we've seen, harnessing both light and darkness. They have new ways to mine resources and centralized army production. Their flying arc ship cascades power, which they use to expand infrastructure, energize their army, and enhance their abilities.
Enemies beware. A higher purpose.
Now, the Celestial Armada is here. Earth is the latest battleground, and the war, it's just getting started.
The Celestial Armada is this dying alien race that is moving through the galaxy, and they are ancient beings that stretch back to the origins of the universe itself. And everything from their beings to their civilization to where they live is technologically driven. And we love playing into that mechanically with how they express themselves on the battlefield in the game. With each faction that we develop, we start with a core identity. The Vanguard, we have this plucky human resistance. They're about adaptability, and with the Infernals, we really explored the idea of a unit-focused faction that could have a different way of summoning their troops into the battlefield. With the Celestials, when we started out, we really wanted to push a lot of boundaries. And we thought, how can we make a building-focused faction? And also a faction that introduces map-wide mobility. They are anchored by this this idea that they're descending into the atmosphere from the Celestial Armada. And so when you're playing as this faction and can build structures all across the map in different places very easily, in many ways it becomes this strategic dance about where the conflict is playing out on a map. So we've kind of shifted the focus onto the buildings themselves. There's going to be a lot of emergent gameplay that players will discover on their own that we are not planning for. And that's actually what we want from the Celestials. Is we want to give players a bunch of options, a bunch of flexibility, and a bunch of interesting toys to play with, and then see what comes out the other side. And if you're the type of player that really likes coming up with this innovative way to outsmart opponents, the Celestial faction is designed for you.
With Celestials, we've really done something that is pure original thinking from this team that is not something that we've seen before in a real-time strategy game. And it took a lot of iteration to get to the point that it felt balanced and where it felt correctly comparable to the other two races.
Stormgate is a Blizzard-style RTS, and so by saying that we're continuing the legacy of Warcraft and StarCraft, we're really looking at that core RTS experience. But we really believe that even within a Blizzard-style RTS, there's a lot of room to innovate, and there's a lot of creative boundaries that can be pushed to bring new styles of play and new experiences for players. And so we are really excited about bringing a lot of new ideas into the genre. We want you to have this asymmetric experience where playing one faction or another faction really feels almost like a different game entirely.
Our technology runs at a higher tick rate than any real-time strategy game that's ever come before. In a nutshell, essentially what that means is, as a player, the time between clicking and seeing their actions take place is faster than any other RTS game that's really ever come out. As a player, it just feels really, really good to play.
One of the biggest design challenges that we faced with Stormgate is creating a game that maintains the high-skill gameplay that has been the heart of RTS for so long, but still provides an on-ramp for new players coming in that doesn't scare them away. It's okay to be a high-skill game. It's actually a good and appealing thing. We never want to water down that aspect of RTS, but we talk a lot about lowering the skill floor, which means making it more approachable for new players coming in without taking away the high skill elements of the game that make RTS so exciting. Early access is much more about bringing the community along with us and benefiting from that feedback that the community provides us to really make the game what they tell us they want. We've been having conversations with the community, and together, hopefully, that we really are able to craft something that feels collaborative. We're sharing it at a much earlier stage than any game that we've worked on in the past. But it is a better way to make games. I believe that Stormgate, as it evolves, will turn into something that is literally the best game that we've ever worked on as a result.
We hope you've enjoyed this exclusive first look at our Celestial faction. Stormgate's free to play. It's available to everyone and will be launching fully into early access on August 13th. But you can join us before then on July 30th by going to Steam and picking up one of our bundles that's available today.
Atlas 1-1, this is Zeus. Do you copy? Over. We've detected the anomalous presence in the Iron Corridor area. We need you to localize it and contain it. There's a lot of blue and red activity there. Do not engage. I repeat, do not engage. Your goal is simple. Search and contain the anomaly. I repeat, search. Atlas, do you copy? Respond, Atlas.
ready for a bit of fun then?
Action horror would be the thing that we focused on from the beginning with Killing Floor 3. It was really about science gone wrong. I mean, even like, look at this set, right? As a kid of the 80s and 90s, I just loved the Dark Horse Aliens and Predator comics. There were some elements in there about trying to create biological weapons set in a thematically dystopian themed world. So we wanted to tie that in. But from Predator and Aliens, one of the things that you see the most is basically a group of well-trained badasses who have to use every single bullet, every single grenade, every single weapon to handle the things that they're being faced with, these kind of insurmountable odds. Those moments are what motivate us, and that's when Killing Floor is at its best.
There's just a combination of just so many small elements that we've improved over Killing Floor 2 experience. We've increased the amount of Zeds that are in the world at one time, so the battle feels way more epic.
We knew we wanted Zeds to become more challenging. We're increasing how they get to you, how they damage you, so the cone of danger has essentially increased dramatically. Anywhere on screen Zeds can be, so I have to kind of keep my head on a swivel and really learn how to prioritize my targets. It's not essentially what's closest to me, but what can get to me faster, what's gonna do more damage. It's just more ways to kind of amplify not only the action, but that horror element as well in KF3.
We have like very detailed hit detection system now, and you can blow off any limb. Every bullet hole that hits it stays there permanently. Exactly where you burn the creature is where you'll see its flesh burnt. We actually have Zeds where you can blow limbs off and they'll keep fighting you if it's not a critical spot of that Zed.
Most of our Zeds have somewhat of a critical zone on it. So certain Zed tech, like on the flesh pound, on his back, on his chest, they'll glow. If you shoot that, it will explode off and expose like an inner critical zone that when you shoot will kind of deal the ultimate killing blow to that Zed. One thing that's always felt great in Killing Floor is shooting things in the head. We wanted there to be variety when you do that. Their heads are made up of multiple meshes so that it can essentially open up and kind of randomizes what that head could look like. There is the opening shot of Day of the Dead, where there's literally just a massive tongue and maybe like a few teeth hanging there. We're very big horror fans. There's kind of like little Easter eggs throughout everything. That impact and that feedback and that variation makes shooting things in the head feel incredibly rewarding. We hope you enjoyed that exclusive look at Killing Floor 3. For more information, visit killingfloor3.com and wishlist now.
This city is about to experience a football game that could be the greatest it has ever seen. You are responsible for how it will go down in history. Get ready to host the biggest clubs from all around the world. You will have to manage every single detail. Prepare for thousands of fans swarming your city, filling the streets with energy you can only get from football fever. But remember, safety is a top priority. It's all in your hands. Can you find the right balance?
The fans are getting excited. But the pressure on the organizers is rising.
Can you give them what they want? Can you create a night they will remember forever? Everything comes down to your decisions. Clubs, engage thousands of fans, create a football fiesta. Copper City 25, the first football tycoon.
For Strange Scaffold, the studio behind El Paso elsewhere. We're making a covert revenge thriller FPS about a secret agent who turns down one last job too many and gets hunted across the North American wilderness by the military-industrial complex. And I was like, hey, can I shoot this promo here? And they said, well, it's Texas, of course we can hunt you. And I said, what's that? The one thing the games industry needs more than a corporation that gives a shit about developers and their players is WASP slander. Now, I could tell you about how Strange Scaffold, the studio behind El Paso elsewhere, is making an exciting new action game, but if you get anything out of this next trailer, I hope it's that WASPs are evil bastards and they should be shot on sight. Thank you.
Where are you hiding? The more you hide, the more agents we send. And the more agents we send, well, come on out, you big bitch.
Okay.
Wait, no!
I've got Hardy. Agent down. Harding spotted. Harding's here. He's going for the head.
Be careful what you wish for.
The Cataclysma left us broken. Lost. But we rose, piece by piece, night after night. They broke us once, but I see no broken souls today. I see a people carved from stone. And with this stone, we will rebuild.
Listen, I don't care what you were doing back on Earth, shooting hobos in tracksuits or sweating in a bush in some godforsaken jungle. This is nothing like what you've ever faced. Our intel confirms enemy operators deployed in the AO. And it seems like those alien freaks can be killed with light. Keep your mission objective a priority, and I'll see you on the other side. Moving out.
Sleeper. We're in trouble. Lane's closing in, and we need this next contract to go right. But nothing's gone right so far. That contract Carson gave us was trouble from the start. Junie? I didn't trust her. Not for a moment. That derelict was a death trap. Suddenly, it was all over. But we've got to bounce back. We've secured the contract. So let's talk, crew. How about Nia? She was handy with that drone. Stopped the whole thing blowing up in our faces. Or Eugene. He's a loudmouth, but he's tough as hell. Although he did forget to tell us about Vesna. Or we find someone new, but new crew have new problems. The belt is wide, Sleeper. So whatever comes at us next, just remember, nothing in the belt ever runs smooth.
No More One Hell 2 is a permadeath horror co-op game.
You start with a flashlight with no weapons, and you're exploring in the dark, and you're trying to find your first friend and your first weapons to get some safety.
You find more gear, you find more people. It's suddenly 4 players, 6 players, 8 players, up to that final showdown at the power plant, where hordes of zombies are pouring in and using explosives and assault rifles to overcome that final challenge.
Like with Chivalry, combat is the first thing we focused on. Being Torn Banner, we want that game feel just really intense, and it's part of the immersion. Every run is different. We're looking at how do we deliver the Hollywood cinematic experiences. You know, how do we put you in a place that you've never been before, but you've always wanted to be. It's like a co-op game with consequences. And the fun becomes, how long can I survive the zombie apocalypse?
Peggy 18.
здравствуй, солдат. Давненько не заходил. Куда пропадал-то?
А вот и наш новый герой!
Так ты на арену поддался, но все равно вернулся, да? Чемпион. Да, изменился ты. Но и у нас тут жизнь не стоит на месте. Конфликт в Таркове снова разгорается. И пока неизвестно, чем все это закончится. Похоже, придется тебе снова показать, чего ты стоишь, боец. Путь осилит идущий, так ведь? И кто знает, может, у тебя и получится сбежать из Таркова.
If it's vengeance you want, I'll give it to you. As long as Wu is free, your world is in mortal peril. Help me steal him away. Stem the tide of destruction. It's the least you can do.
Come at me! You're in my way. Let's go! Come and get it!
Our generation ship was to travel hundreds of years across the stars so we could build a new world for humanity. We had tried to restore Earth's ravaged ecology. The desperate solution nearly wiped us out instead. And now it's on the ship. And it's growing. There are only a few thousand of us left, and we cannot repeat the past. In our ship's closed ecosystems, resources are finite. Nothing can go to waste. Every bit of scrap needs to be salvaged, reclaimed, and repurposed into what we need to survive. Materials, food, water, air. We might not always work well with each other. We might squabble, we might stumble, but we are all we have. As we're building a balanced ecosystem, years will go by like minutes. We must adapt to each other and to the unknown. We're not just learning to build a sustainable future. Everyone on board is living their own story, and your story will be different from mine. Can we escape the mistakes that drove us from our home? Because every decision we make now will determine if humanity earns a second chance.
Generation Exile is a sustainable solarpunk city builder with a reactive emergent narrative that changes every single time the game is played. You are aboard a generation ship traveling for several hundred years, leaving a ecologically ravaged Earth behind, attempting to find a new home for humanity. So rather than repeat the failings of Earth in the past, you need to find a new way to develop a society that is sustainable and can thrive.
Your job is to make sure that you shepherd humanity successfully to the destination planet and that they live to get there and there's enough people to keep humanity going.
Players' goals differ a bit from traditional recognizable city builders, where yes, you're still having to provide the basics for your society, food, shelter, clean water, but there's kind of this unquestioned notion that we see both in a lot of strategy games, but also just in the world around us, where it's like, oh, well, when we need more resources, we can just keep extracting, we can just keep growing and growing and growing. It's simply not possible to keep expanding forever. And that is a thematic element of the game for sure, but I think part of that has come from just looking at the industry around us, where all the goals are just like, what are the returns for the next quarter? We see the harm that is caused by that single-minded focus on how can we extract as much value in the short term. And the people who are harmed the most by that are the thousands of people who in the last 6-8 months have lost their jobs, right? So as you make your way through the game and progress through the game, rather than just infinitely getting bigger, it's about becoming more regenerative, to use only what you have around you because there's no external source of anything else.
Fundamentally, you're on a spaceship. You got what you got.
What we wanted to achieve is to take a relatively recognizable set of city building mechanic, but having more narrative and story elements there as well. Because the thing that is so rich about city builders is that they're so systems dense, and that game state is all very much driven by the choices and decisions that the player is making. But the opportunity then we saw is to look at all that in the city building layer game state, and then
drag it out into the narrative.
Exactly.
Kicking and screaming.
but in a good way.
In a good way.
Where rather than, just like everyone's gonna play through the game and at turn 15, this thing happens. Then at turn 25, this thing happens. Instead, you can just have authored narrative events that are reactive to whatever choices you've made, like weird ecology things that are occurring aboard the vessel, or
they're situations.
Crises.
Yeah.
Small and large. We're able to provide the player the ability to make consequential specific decisions that are divorced from just the pure systems of the game, which then informs the events that will occur in the future, so that at the end, there will be echoes of the decisions you've made along the way. It should feel like the journey to get there is one that you uniquely experience, and the conditions that you finish with are ones that are reactive to all the decisions you made leading up to that point. The game can be wish-listed right now on Steam, and folks can also just go to saunderlessstudios.com to sign up for our newsletter and learn more as we roll things out. There'll be more delicious tidbits in there.
Will they be delicious?
They'll be delicious.
How delicious?
Delectable.
where the top special forces operatives are all just wizards for some reason. One team is unstoppable. Not yours. Hers. The Black Ops Chronomancer. Her team of needlessly fancy goons have brought the world to the brink of war. And only one group of mismatched rejects stands in her way. A disgraced retired Navy seer who can see every possible future, but can't remember his own tragic backstory. The freelance Storm Witch, a private investigator whose mastery of lightning is devastating, unless her enemies aren't standing near windows. The Necromedic, a surgeon who turned to necromancy when she lost her medical license. She can heal you, but she'll have to kill you first. The Rebel Riot Priest, your heavy support. Faith is her armor. But she is also wearing actual armor. Together, there's no threat they can't stop. As long as they can get there by public transport, they can rewind every time they screw it up. And there's an easy mode if they need it. Tactical Breach Wizards. Coming to Steam August 20th. Demo available now. Also, could you wishlist it, please? Thanks.
Hello, I'm Manuel Bergeron, founder and creative director of Astrolab Interactive. It is my greatest pleasure to announce that we just launched a new multiplayer demo for our game Aloft, a sandbox survival game set in the sky. Take a look at our new trailer for a few more surprises. Enjoy!
Polis to my door? To my rig?
I can sort this, right? I just need time.
Don't you answer me back! You're fired. You hear me? Fired.
Jesus
Gregor! Gregor!
Velkomin í verndarvættatölu.
Hi everyone, this is Dave, Community Manager on Windblown, the upcoming action roguelike from Motion Twin, the creators of Dead Cells. These cute characters here are the Leapers, who live in the Ark, a peaceful village now threatened by a massive vortex of doom. So, they train up and become fearless warriors to fight back in an attempt to save their world. Using a cool thruster, you can dash at lightning speed, letting you dart across the stage, dodge out of enemy attacks, or find new areas and secrets. Through each run, you'll be able to equip different gear and upgrades, creating powerful synergies between them. For example, switching weapons at the end of a combo will let you unleash a super powerful move called an Ultra Attack, if you can time it right. Jump online with up to 2 other players, meaning you can mix your builds with your friends and find the best combinations to carry you through the diverse biomes. Windblown will launch later this year into Steam Early Access. Player feedback is super important to help us craft a game that you guys will love to play. So join us on Steam for the latest updates and information, and how you can join in on the fun. See you soon in Windblown.